Hello, everyone. It's a real honor to be here today, to be able to provide a few comments related to governing the commons, but in some ways, more importantly, at least in my career, to what followed governing the commons. I came to Indiana in 1984, and I think it was somewhere around 1986 that Lin contacted me. I'd been doing public good experiments and for many years with my colleague, Mark Isaac. And Lin had had this trip to Bielefeld where she worked with Reinhard Zelten. And she came back with this desire to bring more formal analysis through game theory into the broad scope of work at the workshop, but also this interest in experimental methods. And she contacted me. I knew Lin a bit, but we really, it was one weekend, and she contacted me about getting interested in experiments and maybe writing an SF grant, which we did. So I think it was probably around 1986 that we began to talk about and start to conduct our first experiments with Roy Gardner, game theorist. And looking back on it, this occurred to me that after Mike McGinnis's talk on Monday, Krister Anderson brought up the question about formal hypotheses in research design in Lin's work related to governing the commons, et cetera. And I always thought maybe the reason Lin really got interested in experiments was because she was just interested in multiple methods of analysis. But after this discussion the other day, it occurred to me that maybe the other aspect of that trip to Bielefeld was Lin saw this as a way to bring more formal research design and hypotheses, based on theoretical game theoretic notions, into the research that she was conducting. It's clear that Lin had this interest in bringing people together and bringing multiple methods together. She had this interest in cumulative knowledge, and it was just striking that how the breadth of her work and the breadth of people that she brought into this work. So what I'd like to talk about just a little bit is not governing the commons, an incredible contribution to the literature and having a major impact on many people we know around the world. But that book led to this book, Rules, Games, and Common Pool Resources. And why I want to touch on it is because it's in this book. The book does report sort of a summary of many of our experiments, but it begins with a formal analysis of thinking about common pool resources and the types of games, the types of structures that might be involved in those settings. And then it moves on to, again, formal analysis and experiments, but it also ends with a chapter going back to the field. And in this case, along with Lin, there's a chapter written by Bill Blomquist, Zella Schlager, and Xuyan Tang. And I think it's interesting, this is just one more way in which Lin would have affected people's research programs, but also brought people together and also brought research together. It's just striking in the sense of that scope and that interest that she had in this type of cumulative process, this time over time, this building of ideas and this building of research. So I think I'll end with that. Again, it's just an incredible opportunity. It was an incredible opportunity to me career-wise to work with Lin, but also others at the workshop, and to have that breadth that comes with not just being sort of in your silo of being in a disciplinary department, but having that opportunity to work with many across many different disciplines. So again, what a great opportunity for me to have this opportunity to talk about Lin and about governing the commons and the impact it has had on research. So I hope the conference goes well. I'm sure it will. We'll all learn many, many things from it and have an opportunity to reflect on those experiences from the past.